Sugar is silently destroying millions of aging bodies, weakening the heart, clouding the brain, and stealing independence one day at a time. It hides in daily habits, sweetened drinks, sauces, and snacks, pushing blood sugar higher until fatigue, poor sleep, and disease feel unavoidable. Left unchecked, these quiet surges can be the very difference between living strong and facing life-threatening decline. The body is never beyond repair. Even small, consistent changes can turn the tide. Studies from Harvard to Tokyo University show that simple shifts, like pairing foods wisely or adding brief movement after meals, restore balance faster than many expect. Seniors who embrace these gentle rhythms often regain steady energy, clearer sleep, and sharper focus within weeks. The choices made in the next few days could decide whether sugar keeps silently damaging the heart, brain, and liver, or whether the body begins to heal. In moments, I will reveal 2 habits so powerful and simple that they can change the course of health at any age. Miss them now, and the same hidden sugars could continue driving the decline that ends lives too soon. I am Dr. Suzuki Sato, Japan's top food doctor. For more than a century, I have watched how unnoticed sugars quietly unravel health in my patients, my community, and even in myself. If you have ever wondered whether sugar plays a role in your fatigue or restless nights, share your thoughts below and consider subscribing, so together we can keep building resilience into later years. Today, let us begin a journey. We will learn 8 early signals that sugar may be overrunning the body, uncover the hidden barrier that blocks recovery, and discover the 2 simple habits that keep sweetness from stealing independence. When people hear the phrase "too much sugar," the mind often jumps to a birthday cake or a handful of candy. But the truth for those of us beyond 60 is that the real challenge is rarely the occasional celebration. The real trouble comes from the everyday, invisible sugars that slide into our meals without a second thought. A sweetened tea in the afternoon, a flavored yogurt, a splash of syrup in morning coffee, even bread that tastes only slightly sweet. All of these drip into the body like rain on soil. One drop does little, but when the drops fall daily, the ground changes shape. Our bodies at this age do not process sugar the way they did when we were 20 or even 40. Muscles shrink with age unless we protect them, and muscles are where much of our blood sugar is supposed to go after a meal. With less muscle acting as a sponge, more sugar lingers in the bloodstream, forcing the pancreas to release more insulin. Over months and years, this steady burden can tire the pancreas and change the way our cells respond. That is why 2 people can eat the same meal, but the older one may see sugar rise higher and stay elevated longer. This is not a reason for shame. It is a reason for clarity. Many seniors blame themselves for weakness or fog, when the deeper truth is that physiology has shifted with age and small unnoticed sugars are taking advantage of that shift. Understanding this removes blame and replaces it with power. Here is something worth remembering twice. The most powerful driver is not sugar in solid foods, but sugar in drinks. Liquids pass through quickly. There is no fiber or chewing to slow them down. Studies in Japan and the United States both show that seniors who drink more sugary beverages, even fruit juices, tend to have higher risks of fatty liver, diabetes, and heart strain. Yet when those drinks are reduced, even without cutting other sweets, markers of health often improve within months. Think of a simple example. Imagine 2 older friends in Tokyo. One enjoys a small wagashi sweet with lunch, the other sips a can of sweet tea twice between meals. The total sugar may be the same, but the outcomes are different. The wagashi eaten with fish and rice lands in the body alongside protein and fiber, which cushion the rise. The sweet tea, however, comes alone, flooding the bloodstream without partners to slow it. That single change in timing alters how the body must respond. At this point, let me ask you directly, have you noticed that a sweet drink affects you differently than a sweet food? Perhaps the drink leaves you thirstier or more tired later, while the food feels easier to handle. If you have, share it in the comments. Many in this community may learn from your observation. What matters most here is recognizing that too much sugar is not about willpower or morality. It is about patterns, timing, and context. A balanced plate with rice, vegetables, and fish can handle a small sweet gracefully, but a bottle of soda or a fruit juice taken while sitting can overwhelm the same body. By seeing the problem clearly, we no longer have to fear every dessert. We simply need to be wise about the daily rhythm of how sugar shows up. Pay close attention now, because understanding this rhythm opens the door to the 8 signals that reveal when sugar has already begun to tip the balance. Those signals are the body's own language, whispering long before disease sets in. Once you can hear them, you will never be caught off guard again. The body has a remarkable way of speaking to us, long before test results ever arrive. Sugar is no exception. When the balance tips too far, it often leaves quiet fingerprints. Learning to read those signs gives us a chance to step in early before bigger problems set in. One of the earliest whispers is frequent urination, often paired with unusual thirst. You may find yourself getting up more at night or feeling dry even after a glass of water. This does not always mean sugar is the cause. Many medications and conditions can do the same. But when thirst grows alongside fatigue or blurred vision, it may be the body's way of saying blood sugar is running too high. Paying attention here could save years of strain later. Another clue often hides in blood work. Triglycerides creeping upward and good cholesterol, the HDL, drifting down, can be a response to excess sugars. The liver transforms extra sugar into fat, and this shows up in those numbers. Many people are surprised that their cholesterol panel reflects sugar, not just fried foods or oils. This is worth hearing twice. Sugar can change your blood fats just as much as fatty foods can. The liver itself sometimes speaks up in subtle ways. A doctor may mention fatty liver on a scan, even if you do not drink alcohol. Sugary drinks are often the unseen culprit. The liver has no storage closet for sugar, so it turns the overflow into fat. This fat, over time, inflames and stiffens the organ that works hardest for us. Clothes can tell a story too. When the waistband tightens, even though the scale shows little change, it may be visceral fat building inside the abdomen. This deep fat is more harmful than the softer fat under the skin because it fuels inflammation and insulin resistance. The mouth can provide another signal. Cavities that appear more often or gums that bleed more easily may not only be a brushing issue. Frequent sugar exposure, especially from snacks or lozenges between meals, gives bacteria steady fuel to damage enamel and irritate gums. In older adults, dry mouth from medications makes this even worse. Energy crashes are another common sign. You may feel alert right after eating, then suddenly shaky, irritable, or foggy a couple of hours later. This roller coaster comes from sugar rushing in, then plunging down as insulin works over time. It is not imagined. It is your body's chemistry swinging too hard. There are also effects on pressure and joints. Research shows that excess sugar, especially from drinks, can raise blood pressure over time. At the same time, fructose, a component of table sugar and many syrups, raises uric acid, which can trigger gout flares in sensitive people. For seniors already managing these conditions, this link can be eye-opening. And finally, sleep often reveals the truth. High sugar meals in the evening can leave the night restless, with shallow sleep or repeated waking. Large American studies in older women have tied high glycemic diets to more insomnia, while Japanese research shows that balanced evening meals promote deeper rest. If sleep has grown more fragile, sugar may be one of the quiet thieves. Let me ask you here, have you noticed one of these signals in your own life? Whether it is thirst, tighter clothes, restless sleep, or something else, share your story in the comments. Your experience may help someone else recognize their own signs. Don't drift now, because these signals are more than curiosities. They are red flags waving gently, asking for attention before they turn into storms. The next step is to learn how hidden sugars and long sitting hours amplify these problems, and how simple adjustments can turn the tide. Sugar alone is not the whole problem. The real challenge after 60 is the way sugar arrives in the body and what we are doing at that exact moment. Think about it. The same amount of sugar can behave very differently depending on whether it comes in a glass or on a plate, and whether you move afterward or stay seated. This is where many people get caught without realizing it. Liquid sugar is the body's trickiest guest. Sweet teas, sodas, fruit juices, flavored lattes, all of them slip through the stomach quickly and pour into the bloodstream in minutes. There is no fiber to slow them down, no protein to share the load. Blood sugar spikes higher and faster, leaving the pancreas scrambling to release insulin. Research in both Japan and the United States shows that older adults who consume more sugary drinks are far more likely to develop fatty liver and unstable blood sugar, even when total calories are not excessive. And what usually happens after a drink? We sit at the table, in the car, on the sofa. Muscles go quiet. Yet muscles are the very tool the body needs to pull sugar out of the blood. When they are still, sugar lingers, and the pancreas must work overtime. That is why two people can drink the same glass of juice, but the one who goes for a gentle walk absorbs it better than the one who stays in the chair. This is a turning point worth holding on to. It is not only about what we eat or drink, it is about what we do in the hour that follows. Think of the pancreas as a small engine. If you give it too much fuel while letting the machinery sit idle, the engine overheats. But if you run the gears, even slowly, the engine uses the fuel more smoothly. That's how our bodies work after meals. Now, you may be wondering if this means sweets must be banished. Absolutely not. The wisdom here is about pairing and timing. Sugar with protein and fiber is far easier for the body to handle. A piece of melon after grilled fish and miso soup has a very different effect than melon juice taken alone in the afternoon. One keeps balance, the other overloads. Let me pause and invite you here. Have you noticed that you feel different when you have something sweet alongside a full meal versus when you have it by itself? If so, share your story in the comments. Your observation may help someone else connect the dots in their own routine. Only a small number of people watching right now are subscribed. If you feel these lessons are giving you clarity and practical tools, subscribing allows us to keep bringing this kind of careful guidance every week. Here's the key takeaway you cannot miss. Liquid sugars plus long sitting are the perfect storm. Change either one, reduce the drinks, or shorten the sitting, and you have already lifted a heavy weight from your body. Change both, and you may notice shifts in energy, sleep, and even lab numbers sooner than you expect. Pay close attention here, because the two habits I will share next are designed to do exactly that. They make sugar gentler on the body, protect the pancreas, and turn meals into fuel instead of fatigue. For many seniors, these two habits are the difference between feeling dragged down after eating and feeling steady throughout the day. We have talked about signals and barriers. Now let us turn to the two habits that carry the most weight with the least effort. These are not complicated diets or exhausting workouts. They are small shifts that anyone can fold into daily life, and they work because they cooperate with the way the body is designed. The first habit is pairing carbohydrates with protein and fiber. On its own, sugar rushes into the bloodstream like a sudden flood, but when you combine it with protein and fiber, that flood slows into a steady stream. Imagine rice eaten plain versus rice paired with fish and miso soup. The second plate releases energy slowly, keeping you steady. The same is true in an American kitchen. A slice of bread with peanut butter steadies blood sugar better than bread alone. Pairing is a shield, and once you use it, even small amounts of sugar become less disruptive. This is worth holding close. Pairing does not mean cutting out what you love. It means giving sugar company at the table so the body can handle it kindly. Yogurt with berries, tea with a handful of nuts, or a sweet after a balanced meal. These small changes turn a sugar spike into a manageable rise. Over time, this keeps the pancreas calmer, the liver lighter, and energy more reliable. The second habit is moving shortly after meals. This does not mean running or lifting heavy weights. Research shows that just 2 to 10 minutes of gentle walking after eating can lower the rise in blood sugar significantly. The magic here lies in muscle. When muscle contracts, even lightly, it pulls sugar from the blood without needing insulin's permission. That means your body has a second way to clear sugar, one that doesn't strain the pancreas. For those who use a cane, walker, or wheelchair, there are still options. Marching the legs while seated, circling the arms, or doing slow steps down a hallway all activate muscles enough to make a difference. The important part is timing. Moving within the first 30 minutes after eating has the strongest effect. Think of it as inviting your muscles to help with cleanup right after the meal. Pay closer attention than usual here because this single habit can reshape the way you feel in the hours after eating. Many older adults report fewer crashes, lighter sleep, and steadier moods when they add these small post-meal movements. The body responds quickly, often within days, not months. Now I'd like to ask you, could you see yourself adding a few minutes of gentle motion after your next meal? It doesn't need to be far. It could be a stroll through the living room, tending plants, or simply standing and stretching at the sink. Share your thoughts below. When one person describes how they fit it in, others find courage to try. Only a small share of viewers are subscribed. If these two habits feel practical and possible, subscribing helps us continue bringing you simple, respectful guidance every week. Here is the heart of it: pairing and timing, sugar with partners, and muscles invited to join after the meal. These two small habits lighten the pancreas, protect the heart, and guard the liver more effectively than many complicated routines. Together, they create a rhythm where sugar fuels the body rather than burdening it. And the story does not end here. To truly make these habits last, we must fine-tune them for different health conditions, medications, and cultural food traditions. That way, no one is left behind, and every table can find its own balance. Every body tells a different story, and that is why even the best habits need adjusting. What works beautifully for one person can cause problems for another, especially when medications or medical conditions are involved. The good news is that with a few careful adjustments, almost everyone can benefit from sugar balance without feeling left out. For those using insulin or certain diabetes medications, lowering sugar spikes with pairing and movement can actually make blood sugar fall too far. This is not a reason to avoid the habits, but it does mean changes should be made with guidance. A glucose meter or a short trial with a continuous sensor can show how your body responds. This is one of those times when the difference between safety and risk lies in awareness. Those with kidney challenges or a history of gout must also pay attention. Fructose, the sweet part of many syrups and juices, can raise uric acid, which may trigger painful gout flares. If you fall in this group, the safest path is to favor whole fruit, which delivers sweetness with fiber and water, and to keep fruit juice or sweetened drinks as rare treats. Hydration with water or unsweetened tea helps protect the kidneys while still giving comfort and ritual. Dental health deserves its place here as well. Dry mouth from medications and gum changes with age make sugar more damaging to teeth. That is why enjoying sweets right after meals, rather than between them, matters so much. It shortens the time teeth spend bathed in sugar, and saliva from the meal helps rinse the mouth. Pairing a sweet with green tea or water strengthens this effect even further. For those who struggle with chewing or digestion, texture matters. Silken tofu, stewed beans, soft fish, or tender greens can provide the protein and fiber needed for pairing without discomfort. Gentle movement after eating can be adapted too. Arm circles, light stretching, or simply standing for a few minutes while washing dishes all activate muscles enough to steady blood sugar. The body does not demand perfection, it asks only for consistency. Here is a story that brings these ideas to life. An older neighbor of mine had a long tradition of enjoying senbei crackers and sweet coffee in the late afternoon. Over time, triglycerides crept upward, and sleep grew restless. We did not remove the treats. Instead, we shifted them. The crackers and coffee came after lunch, not hours later. Most days the coffee was swapped for barley tea, but twice a week the sweet version returned as a special comfort. After meals, she began a slow 5-minute walk down her hallway. Within 3 months, energy steadied, lab results improved, and sleep grew deeper. Small shifts, not big sacrifices, carried the change. Don't drift now, because this is the point where theory becomes practice. You have heard the signals, the barriers, and the cornerstone habits. Now you can see that exceptions are not obstacles. They are simply invitations to tailor the approach so it fits your body and your life. Let me ask you directly, which of these fine-tunings speaks to your situation? Do you recognize yourself in the story of gout, dental changes, or evening sweets? Share in the comments, because your insight could make another person's journey smoother. In just a moment, we will bring everything together into a simple daily rhythm. You will see how pairing, timing, and fine-tuning can blend into one flowing plan, something you can begin as soon as your next meal. We began with a difficult truth. After 60, sugar does not behave kindly. It slips into our days, often unnoticed, and leaves behind signs in thirst, sleep, weight, blood pressure, and energy. These signals are not failures. They are the body's early warnings, gentle nudges asking us to respond. We then uncovered the real barrier, sugary drinks and long sitting that magnify the harm, and we learned the 2 habits that give back the most, pairing sugar with protein and fiber, and moving gently after meals. Add to this the fine-tuning for medications, conditions, and personal traditions, and you now hold a toolkit that respects both science and your daily life. Don't let this knowledge slip away. The difference between hearing these lessons and using them is the difference between years of steady independence and years of slow decline. This is worth hearing twice. Small daily choices, made consistently, reshape the future in ways large changes never could. Here is your invitation. Try just one step today. Pair a sweet with a balanced meal or take a slow 5-minute walk after dinner. These may seem small, but research shows they ripple quickly into blood sugar, sleep, and even mood. Now I ask you, what step will you begin with? Will you move your sweets to mealtimes or try a short after-meal walk? Or perhaps explore pairing fruit with yogurt instead of juice alone? Share it in the comments. Your choice may inspire someone else to begin. Only a small share of viewers are subscribed. If these teachings have given you clarity, subscribing ensures we can continue to bring you more guidance each week. Remember this line as you leave. Sweetness is safest when it is partnered by food, by fiber, and by a few gentle steps.